Welcome to my EDC Las Vegas hotel room. I am here for the week of EDC, and I'm actually attending the event. I've been there twice already. Day 1 and day 2 was excellent. I wanted to do a little bit of vlogging while I was there, but honestly, it is so ridiculously loud. There's like, it would be impossible. You wouldn't be able to hear anything I was saying. So instead, I'm gonna show you guys my setup, my gaming PC setup. There's a lot to talk about here, actually. And there were some special things I had to do to get set up here and working for a Las Vegas hotel room. I actually haven't been doing much on this PC. Like, I've done no gaming. It's been a really busy week with EDC and meeting up with other friends that are here and doing a little bit of work as well. Plus, the internet here is horrible. Like, I'm getting less than 1 megabit per second both ways. It's good at loading pictures, and that's about it. So there's no chance of streaming here. It's just been kind of neglected here for the last few days. It's not that I regret bringing it, but I really could have done without it, honestly. And like I said, the only real value I'm getting out of it being here is that I get to shoot this video and share with you guys. I actually posted about it briefly on Instagram and asked you if you'd want to see me do a little tour of it. 94% of you said you really wanted to see a video on it, so let's start with the monitor. So you guys know my wall-mounted PC. I've got that triple monitor spread. This is actually one of those panels. I took it off of the ergo arm, the wall-mounted arm, and I just reattached the stand. In case you forgot, it's a 27-inch panel, IPS, nano IPS is what LG calls it, and it's 4K, 144 hertz, 1 millisecond response time. It is a fantastic monitor. That's why I personally use 3 of them every day. I also brought a second display here. This is just a, wouldn't say cheap, but not really a gaming monitor. This is another LG, forget the model name, but I've had this one for a while. This is just a 24-inch 4K 60 hertz panel. Also IPS, it looks really good. I was going to use that as a companion display along with this guy, but as you can see, there's really not a whole lot of room here. I would have had to get really fancy and bring like a third-party stand that maybe had like another mount at the top here if I wanted to do like a vertical setup, or maybe even if I had a stand that could orient that panel vertically, I could put it to the side here. It would just get really cramped, even with a 24-inch panel. There's really little desk space, much smaller desk space than I was expecting to have in this room, because I actually paid a little extra for the suite. It's just a single king bed, but you can see it's actually a fairly spacious room. It's got this little living room area, and now I'm getting way off topic, doesn't matter. We also have the keyboard, my GMMK Pro that I custom built myself, lubed all the switches. That took forever. You guys can watch that video on that, but it was a lot of fun, great build. And while I'm not thrilled with the typing experience with the Lynx Pro switches that are in here, and also the stabilizers, the stock GMMK Pro stabs aren't the best compared to something like aftermarket Durox, it's still a lovely keyboard. It has a really nice stock sound. It's super quiet, except again, the stab keys are a little annoying. Obviously, it's fairly compact as well, which makes it great for travels. No 10-key number pad, don't really need it though. And we also have a G302 mouse, wireless. This is my handy-dandy mouse that I use pretty much every day at my main setup, and it's great for travel too. This is just a really versatile mouse, and the battery lasts forever. I think I've still had the same battery in here since the day I bought this mouse, like over a year and a half ago. Haven't needed to change it, and yes, I use it every day. Very accurate tracking. The one thing I forgot for this setup, I knew I was going to forget something. There's always one thing I forget, and it was, of course, a mouse pad. I was going to bring like an extra long mouse pad to put both of these guys on there. Totally forgot. Fortunately, this tracks on here perfectly. It's another one of the reasons I love this mouse so much, is because the sensor just tracks so well on pretty much any surface within reason. What are we doing over here, Arthur? You're supposed to be doing stuff so that it looks pretty for the camera. Okay, there we go. Back on track, doing horsey things. All right, what else? We've got my gamepad. Not much to say about that. I didn't obviously bring any like stand or holder for it, so it's just kind of sitting here. Obviously, I would only be using this for certain games, certain PC games, like or certain parts of a game, specifically for Red Dead Redemption 2. When I'm riding the horsey, it's kind of nice to have the gamepad. It's just a little bit more intuitive than a keyboard and mouse. Obviously, when I'm shooting and stuff, I go back to the good peripherals. And then we also have the PC. Well, actually, before we get to that, headset right here, Corsair Virtuoso XT, which is the newer one. The non-XT is a little bit older. This one's a bit more comfy. The microphone sounds really great on this, so this is the only mic I felt I really needed to bring if I was going to actually have the bandwidth to stream here, which again, I don't. But super comfortable headphones. I use this, or headset, I use this every day as well. So I really tried to like bring as much of the hardware that I'm already familiar with using on a regular basis here, so it just felt natural. Like I wasn't compromising on too much. It is a wireless headset, and you can see I've got my dongle plugged in right there to the front. I've got a little USB hub here, which I'll explain more in just a sec, which brings us to the system. And that includes the case, of course, which has this handy-dandy pop-out what is this called? A bar? A hanger, a headset hanger. I did a full build and video on this case specifically, so if you want to check that out, again, feel free. But one of the things I really appreciate about this case now, even more so than when I first checked it out, is that the headset bar can come out on either side. There's two of them. And at first I was like, that seems a little extra. But now that I'm like here in a like little cramped space, like I definitely wanted the PC on the right side of the monitor, because if I put it on the left, I felt like I was just going to be like my shoulder was going to be touching the wall here. It's just such a cramped space. So this actually works out great, because if it only had a headset holder on one side, I'd be kind of forced to like keep this headset over here, which would kind of interfere with the monitor. Doesn't seem like a lot, but it's little details like that that just kind of add to the overall experience and make it a little nicer. So again, Revolt 3 from height. The other nice thing about this case is the handle, the pop-out handle. It's fantastic. I love it. But actually, I didn't have to use it too much for this trip, because this is a special edition model that I got directly from iLivePower that also comes included with the Pelican case that's specifically designed for it. It says height right there, and you can actually see, I mentioned this in the height Revolt 3 video as well. It's limited edition, 207 out of 230, the special edition flight case, which sounds kind of fancy schmancy, but man, if you're gonna be traveling with this case, with a system using this case, this is so nice to have. I just wheeled this right into the Vegas hotel room, and everything fits perfectly. You can see it's all cut out for the case perfectly. Also, this is a little area for the special edition front panel, because the specific special edition also came included with the gold insert at the front here for the ventilation. And when this came shipped to me, that's where the panel was. But since the panel is already installed on the case, this actually makes an absolute perfect spot for the keyboard. Just look at that. I don't know why that made me so happy when I realized that it would fit just like a glove. So I've been using the Pelican case for both the PC and the keyboard as well. So let's explore this PC a bit more, shall we? So
before we continue, this video is brought to you by the Corsair Xeneon 32 QHD 165 gaming monitor. Corsair's first display is a 32-inch 2560 by 1440 quantum dot IPS panel with a 165Hz refresh rate and 1 millisecond response time, featuring seamless integration with Corsair iQ and Elgato's multi-mount system. For more information, click on the link in the description below.
Okay, let me just first of all explain why I have this dongle, or this USB hub here. It's mainly because these two USB ports are not functional. Why is that? It's because when I was putting the system together, which is a different system, by the way, than the one I did in the dedicated video for this case, I broke the USB 3.0 header. I snapped off one of the pins. I was like trying to plug it in from an angle where I couldn't really see. I was kind of like blind firing, shooting in the dark, and then I just went down. I was like, ooh, that didn't feel 100% good. And then when I took it out, I realized I snapped one of the pins off. So I'm using the one working front panel port on here, besides the combo audio jack, to get us some additional USB 3.0 type A ports. Yeah, so it's kind of silly. Obviously, we've got the USB-C port here, and this case does come with a pass-through. So there's actually a USB-C pass-through that goes outside of the case and then plugs into the single USB-C rear I/O port on the motherboard. I think in the future, at some point, if I'm going to continue using this build as is, not make too many changes to it, I think one thing I'd like to do is also add a USB 3.0 pass-through in here. So I would take the USB 3.0 cable that's in here, which is perfectly fine. It's just the header on the motherboard that's broken. But the header itself, I could probably use an adapter that goes from 20-pin USB 3 to USB 3 Type A, and then male, of course, and then plug it into the back of the motherboard, similarly how I did with the USB-C cable. But anyway, I'm sure you guys are like, Kyle, just shut up, tell us the specs already. Okay, Ryzen 7 5700, so we've got 8 cores, 16 threads on board, on the latest Zen 3 architecture, which is really nice. 32 gigs of DDR4, 3600 speed. I believe it's G-Skill, Trident ZM. No, I'm sorry, it's the Crucial Ballistics. They are white, they are RGB, which doesn't matter in a case like this. The motherboard's an Aorus X570i Gaming. It's their mini ITX X570 board, and we've also got a 2 terabyte Crucial P5 NVMe Gen 4, or PCIe Gen 4 NVMe M.2 SSD. It's a single drive in here, 2 terabytes is plenty, and that's mounted to the front slot on the motherboard, and it's got like an active cooler on it. So rather than just a passive heatsink, it does have a mini fan directed right at the SSD, which actually gives me a lot more confidence than just a standard M.2 shield. Cooling the Ryzen chip, by the way, is a 280mm liquid AIO from Corsair, the H115i. It also has RGB lighting on the fans, which I haven't even hooked up because it was like, why bother? But that's doing an excellent job, and we'll take a look at temps really quickly by the end of this video as well. You can exactly see how effective the cooling is in this system right now. As for the GPU, an RTX 3080, specifically MSI's Supreme X. This is a massive card, and as you can see, it looks a little different. Why is that? Well, It's because I actually removed the entire shroud in order to get it to fit. There was just absolutely no way to fit it in here without doing this. And of course I couldn't use like a Founders Edition 3080 because it's got fans on both sides and one of them would be interfering with the power supply behind it, would just be choked for airflow. I did have some good RX 6000 series cards I could have put in here, 6800 XT, 6900 XT, but because I thought I would have more time while I was here to play games like Red Dead Redemption 2, which leverages ray tracing and DLSS and all that good stuff, I really wanted NVIDIA cards. So 3080 it is. You know, after I posted a picture of this on Instagram, some people were concerned that temperatures would be horrible because without the shroud, the airflow wouldn't be as directed towards the fin stack. It would kind of just disperse outward and not really through the heatsink effectively like it's supposed to with the shroud. And to that I say, wait till you see the temps. But that is a valid concern. So thank you guys for bringing that up as well. Oh, if you want to take a look over here, here's not the most interesting look, but you can just see there's a 280mm AIO radiator right there. You can see some RGB going crazy inside. And here's a side shot of the GPU, just the massive fin stack on the Supremax RTX 3080. It's a triple plug card. It's got 3 8-pin connectors, and we are using a 700 watt power supply SFXL unit 80 plus gold. That actually came included with the case. So you actually have the option to get the Revolt 3 with or without a power supply included. 700 watts is just barely cutting it, I think, for this 3080. Would be totally fine with the FE, but I think 700 is okay, considering I'm not overclocking anything else further, especially the GPU, definitely not the CPU. And I have run a ton of load tests on this system so far, and no issues with power being insufficient at all. On that note, let's go ahead and put the side panels back on and do a quick thermal test. Might as well do it with Red Dead Redemption 2, which is currently running, again, at 4K. Excuse me, oh my gosh. Max settings with an ambient temp in this room of about 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, we've got Afterburner up here. Let's take a look first. GPU, people who were concerned about the GPU temps, 71C. Hot damn. 71, 72C right now, 95% load, and you can see the RTX 3080 Supreme X is handling it like a champ, thermally speaking, and also, I would say performance-wise, given the current quality settings and resolution of this game in particular, even with DLSS enabled on the balance mode, we're still getting around 90 to 100 FPS. Obviously, it dips below that sometimes, but still pretty solid frame rates, especially in a game like this, where it's not really an esports title, it's not super fast-paced or competitive. At this frame rate, in my opinion, we are friggin' Gucci. And then we also got memory here, so that's just looking at the VRAM there, the green memory, 7.2 gigs of GDDR6X is being used currently at a clock speed of 9502. By the way, the clock speed of a GPU is 1905, thereabouts. You can see it's consuming, pulling about 330 watts from the wall currently. Our CPU temp is 57 degrees Celsius in a small form factor mini ITX case. Holy moly! So shout out to the AIO from Corsair. Also shout out to the chassis itself. Again, it's got ventilation on literally every single side. Maybe not the bottom one so much because it's actually on the desk. There's a little bit of an opening behind there, but it's not really intended for any kind of intake or exhaust. That's all to say though, the temperatures in this thing, for being as small as it is, are fantastic, especially when you consider how fast and powerful the hardware is inside of it right now. In case you're wondering too, the radiator fans on the AIO are actually set to exhaust, so they're pushing hot air out right now, and it doesn't really seem to be, like, the CPU temperatures don't seem to be affected much by the heat coming off of our graphics card. Looking in really good shape here. We also have about we're eating about 14 gigs of DDR4 memory right now, just system RAM. That's exactly why I put 32 gigs in here, because I noticed as I started playing this game more and more at 4K and even doing some streaming, I was eating up over 16 gigs, which has kind of been the standard for a while for most gamers. I think at least for me and how I've been playing games lately, 32 gigs is the new minimum for me personally. Clearly we got plenty of overhead in that area too. So, oh, did I just get shot? Someone's shooting me? Bro, I'm making a video. Oh my God, I'm just gonna let you die. You son of a, who did that? Who are you people? Oh, you stupid bandits. Last thing I'll quickly comment on is acoustics, because generally when you're dealing with a small form factor system, you're going to either compromise on performance, thermals, or noise, right? One of the three. It's like usually like pick two. Sometimes you only get one, but sometimes you can have your cake and eat it too, because right now the system is shockingly quiet. Shockingly quiet. And I wish I would have done like a noise comparison to see if the card gets louder with the shroud on. My guess is that it would be, because I think the shroud would just create a bit more turbulence with the fans, which would bump up the noise a bit. Again, I would love to test that in the future though. But man, it is so quiet. Like, I'm not using my lavalier mic because I left the memory card for my audio recorder at home, so I'm just using crappy built-in audio on the camera. So actually, as I put the camera closer to the system, you should be able to hear it more. But it's nice and docile. Even the fans, even the radiator fans, are just whisper quiet. I don't know. I'm just kind of in love with this PC. I'm in love with this case. I'm in love with this setup. This definitely has potential for a CES setup. Honestly, usually when I go to CES, I stay at the Venetian. Right now I'm at the Golden Nugget in Fremont downtown. But when I'm at the Venetian Hotel, I usually have a bit more desk space than this, and I can usually set up a second monitor, and it just looks a bit more complete. So maybe we'll do a follow-up video to this. I will actually do a 2.0 version of this setup for CES and do a little walkthrough and tour of that if you guys are interested. That being said, thank you for watching this video. Let me know if this was a worthwhile video of your time, because I think it was pretty cool, actually. I didn't think it was going to be that interesting, but after going through, I kind of forgot all of the little details that went into this setup and little quirks and features and stuff. So if you guys enjoyed this video, toss a like. I'm going to get back to Vegas and EDC and stuff. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys very soon in the next video.